Hey everybody, I'm going to attempt to get through the labor and delivery story of Eden here. Trying to get her used to the baby carrier. Okay baby, it's okay. She's refusing to nap the last 2 days. She won't nap at all during the day, so. And if I put her down, she screams. So this is what I have to do. Okay. So labor and delivery, not really labor because I never went into labor. So it was a planned C-section. So it's just a delivery story. Planned C-section, for those of you who don't know, because I had a emergency C-section with my son a little over a year ago, and I wanted a VBAC, but it just never. My doctor stopped doing them, and it's a long story, but never came about. So anyway, the C-section was planned for November 7th at noon, and we needed to arrive there 2 hours early, so at 10 a.m. And we did. We went in and immediately went to the labor room, and I put a gown on, and they hooked me up to monitors, which I was on basically for the 2 hours I was waiting. While the nurses asked the questions. There were two nurses, and they both asked me the same questions at different times. I guess one would walk out and didn't know that the other one asked me all the questions, and it was crazy. But the one nurse I recognized from the last time I was there giving birth to Eli, she's crazy. Loco, I mean completely. Loca, excuse me. And I was like, oh no, not this one. And she recognized me too, so. But yeah, she was just as crazy as ever, and just kind of rude and not very nice. So, but the other lady was very nice. So let's see, I'm looking at my notes here. And they noticed that I was on the monitor, I was having contractions, and they were asking me, do you feel these contractions? I'm like, no. But as time went on, I actually did start to feel them a little bit, so I may have gone into labor naturally that day. Who knows, you know. But it's, yeah, it is what it is. Okay, so let's see. And it's funny, the whole time there, like some of the nurses were there when, you know, I was there with Eli, and they remembered me and I remembered them. It was kind of funny. Let's see. Okay, so 2 hours went by really fast. And as I was being interviewed by the anesthesiologist, I told him not to use the medication that it's a long-acting synthetic morphine that they use. It's supposed to last 24 hours. They put into the whatever injection in your back. I was getting a spinal, but I had an epidural right before I went in with Eli. And I told him, please don't give me that stuff, because I was itching so bad for exactly 24 hours. It was terrible. I was like digging my skin off. He said that he wouldn't. He said he would use a short-acting fentanyl that would probably make me itch a little bit, not as much, and it'll wear off quickly. And then after that, they'd give me a morphine pump. But he said that can cause itching too. All these narcotics cause itching, so. And he was right, it did. I like craziness. So anyway. So they walked me down to the OR. Excuse me, my husband had to wait outside until they got me ready. And I sat, on the side of the OR table while the anesthesiologist put the spinal in. This was horrible. This was so bad. Like, it took him forever to get this thing in my back. And my husband heard me screaming Like, I screamed once really loud. I'm normally have a very high pain tolerance, and I can handle a lot. I mean, I was in labor with my son for 83 hours, so without any anesthesia. But this, he was like digging. It felt like a coat hanger in my back, like digging around. It was terrible. And I literally had a bruise for 3 weeks in my back. So anyway, he finally got it in. And then they, laid me back. And this was crazy. Like, the feeling, the numbness was so crazy because it went all the way up to my neck. I couldn't even feel myself breathing. That was scary, to not feel yourself breathing. And laying on your back when you're pregnant is uncomfortable anyway, and it's hard to breathe. And I was just like laying there, like freaking out. My husband wasn't there yet. They put the curtain up, like it was literally touching my face, and all I see is this wall of blue. And they're talking about football the whole time. So yeah, I was like panicking, but it was not good. Now with the epidural, that didn't happen. It was very, and the whole situation was different too. It wasn't the same situation, but I didn't have that panicking, like not being able to feel myself breathe, and then he had to put something in my IV a couple times because my blood pressure crashed a couple times, like 2 or 3 times actually. So I was just feeling myself like going away. It was crazy. So I guess when they started cutting and all, they let my husband in. He sat down. I felt better once he was there, and I was just like, I'm freaking out. It was terrible. And then, it didn't take very long for him to get to the baby, and then the next really uncomfortable part is when they're pushing on you to pop her out, I guess. I don't know, like popping a zit. But, yeah, I'm like, oh. So they brought her, and, we heard her cry, and that was just amazing. And as soon as they got her out, they told my husband Mark to stand up and take pictures. So he took pictures, and then they, I guess, cut the cord and took her over to the thing, and they're, getting me all taken care of. And let me see if I can find out where I am here. I don't want to miss anything. So they took her over to clean her up, and brought her over to me bundled up. And the nurse explained to us actually that they had changed the procedures like that day. That was the first day that they started changing their procedures, where they keep the baby with the mother, at all times, especially, C-section too. Last time they took Eli, they showed him to me, we got pictures or whatever, and then they took him straight to the nursery. But this time they kept her like laying on my chest, all bundled up, and I was kind of trying to hold her, and it was crazy. It's very cumbersome. And then Mark got to hold her for a while, and that was really nice. And I don't remember if I carried her when they took me to the recovery room, or they had her in a little bassinet, and I don't remember. It's kind of fuzzy. Let's see. And then when I started coming out of when the spinal started wearing off, I got the shakes really bad, which happened with the epidural. Oh, and then one funny thing, when they were getting the placenta out, they were like all commenting on how huge my placenta was. They're like, oh my gosh, this thing is huge, which was really good because I needed to take it with me. Somebody was going to come pick it up to do the placenta encapsulation. So that was really good that I had a big placenta. And we got, you know, they put it in a big container, like a big bucket for us, and we called them. They came and picked it up. And then it's funny because when she dropped the pills off, when she was done, I asked her, I said, was my placenta like really big, or what, how many pills did you get out of it? And she said that she normally gets about 80 pills out of a placenta, but she got 116 from mine, so that was pretty cool. Okay, so after getting stitched up, wheeled me back to recovery, brought the baby, okay. The nurse helped me get her latched, and she did okay with it. Not great, but she did latch a little bit. And they eventually took her to the nursery to do testing and brought her right back. Once the medication wore off, I was in a lot of pain and itching like crazy on top of it. They gave me the morphine pump and told me to push the button whenever I needed to. But they didn't give me like a time range, like when it's okay to push it. Well, they said you can't overdose, which is fine, but let me know how often I can push it. And I didn't know till much later, like the next day, that I could have done it every 10 to 20 minutes, and I was waiting hours to push it. So I was really in a lot of pain. Then when I found that out, I was pushing it, and that caused me to have this severe itching. And I was just like, ah. I mean, I had holes in my skin. It was terrible. Okay. And it didn't help with the pain. The morphine wasn't helping at all. So they ended up giving me a Toradol, like piggyback. And that actually really helped. And the Toradol's non-narcotic. I should have just got that to begin with. Whatever. Let's see. Itching. Okay. And then I'm just talking about the pain and the medication right now. The next day they ended up taking the pump away and giving me Percocet, small dose of Percocet and ibuprofen, and that actually helped a little bit better. It didn't cause any itching. That was the main thing. Okay, so then in all of this, with all of this pain and trying to sit up, and they encourage you to keep the baby with you at all times. I don't know about the rest of you who've had C-sections, but it's a major surgical procedure. It's major surgery, and they open up your whole abdominal cavity, and it hurts. So we wanted to take the baby to the nursery for a few hours so we could get some sleep. Well, there was a nurse down there, my husband told me, that put like a total guilt trip on him about bringing the baby to the nursery. And she was all like, oh yeah, bring her down here, you know, might as well while you can, and just being real like snarky and sarcastic. And he's just like, look, you know, my wife's in a lot of pain, we really just need some rest, and so whatever. So we left her there for a few hours, and of course I'm feeling like super guilty, and we ended up, you know, just a couple hours later getting her back. But sleep is really important for healing. It just really is. I don't know, these nurses should know this. Okay. Let's see here. I mean, right, it's her job. That's just my thing. Her job is, she works in the nursery. Like, why is it a problem to bring your baby to the nursery? Anyway. And I think my depression and anxiety started kicking in almost right away, because that made me cry. Everything was making me cry. It was terrible. Okay. Oh, and then the next night we did the same thing. We wanted to take her down there just for, you know, for a while so we could get some sleep. And the nurse looked at her feeding journal that we had and got really kind of nasty again and said that, oh yeah, overfeed her and then bring her to me. Great, she's gonna have diarrhea. Like, just being really mean and just, you know, ugh. And then when she's showing hunger signs and she's crying and screaming, and you put a bottle in her mouth or whatever, and she feeds, I mean, she's hungry, right? That's just what our doctor always taught us. All right, so anyway. So when my husband picked her up from the nursery, it was like the next morning, was really early, and she had poop dried all the way up to her shoulders, and he had to literally peel the diaper off of her like a band-aid. Basically, it was so dried on to her skin that there is no way this nurse changed her diaper, or anybody changed her diaper, and that really like freaked us out. We're like, we are not taking this child to this nursery ever again. It was really unpleasant and made me really mad. Okay, I guess the nurse wanted to teach us a lesson. So then another thing that she kind of told us that made us question our parenting was saying that we were feeding her too much too often. And so we started limiting her to what she's supposed to be eating. This was very, very wrong. When we took her to her first pediatrician appointment, we told her, because she had lost a pound, and he's like, what's going on, you know? And we told him about this nurse and her comments, and we were, you know, holding back her food and like saying, oh, she only gets this, and she was like screaming. We didn't know what was wrong with her. She was like screaming until she was hoarse. Oh my gosh. Turns out the child was starving. We just felt so horrible after, you know, talking to the pediatrician. He's like, oh, no, no, no. When, you know, she's yelling for food, give her food. You know, the worst thing that'll happen is she'll spit up a little bit if it's too much. And so we're like, oh, okay. So from then on, everything's fine. But wow, he was so mad. I mean, at the nurse for saying that. Okay. Okay. So back to the hospital. They did all their testing. She passed everything. Photographer came, took some pictures, and I put them up on YouTube if you guys are interested in watching. They turned out really nice. We ordered some. We ordered the discs, so we have all the copies. So on day 2, we left the hospital. We didn't stay 3 days. We stayed 2. So, I mean, I'm not going to candy coat this. The pain is bad. You know, you're pretty much, it pretty much is bad for about a week, and then it kind of gets better and better and better, and by 2 weeks you're feeling pretty good. So, you know, and thinking back on it, I don't even remember it. It just leaves your memory, and you know, it's all worth it. And some people don't have that hard of a time with it. I think the second time around was a little bit worse for me, and I've heard that the second time around is better for a lot of people. So, you know, it all depends, but it's worth it. Oh no, it's okay. I think I'm gonna do another breastfeeding update video, because, well, yeah, I know I've discussed the IGT and hypoplasia, but I think, and I've done a video a while back on it, but I think I'm going to do an updated video, because there's so much pressure for women to breastfeed that some women can't, and I don't know, I think it's good to just kind of put it out there, my story, and it might help some other people, so I think I might do that. Who knows? But she's doing well. Everybody's doing good. I think that's pretty much the end of my story. Oh, well, not really. I think I'm gonna do a separate video on, just talking about postpartum depression and anxiety, because I'm still kind of struggling with it. It's not as bad, but that's one thing people never really told me about before I started, before I experienced it the first time. And it's another thing that if you're going through it, it's nice to, hear from someone who has gone through it themselves. So, yeah. And that's about it, guys. Okay. Ooh. I'm still working on the Vlogfest videos. We're gonna put the tree up today, I promise. All right, y'all. Have a great day. Bye.